I'm making a tier list, and then I don't know. It's like, hey, I don't know. It makes sense at the end. Like, it makes sense at like the mid-season patch, right? Like it changes the meta. So I guess content, maybe I'll start. Maybe if this is fun, I'll start doing it from now on. I've always been kind of against tier lists, but also like, I don't know, why not? So all right, let's get some ground rules out of the way first, and I gotta really think about how I'm gonna do this. So like, something I've always been saying with Overwatch 2 that it does very differently and very much better than Overwatch 1 did is very few characters are bad. Like, very few characters are bad. Like, very, very few. Like, if I wasn't to self-impose this rule that I'm about to say, I would say there would probably be, like, only, like, 2 or 3 characters in the bottom tier, and everyone else would be, like, B or higher. But I'm gonna self-impose a rule where I'm gonna try to spread it out a little bit more. I'm gonna try to use all the tiers, instead of I'm gonna try to be like picky and use all the tiers. So that's like my first self-imposed rule. Um, I'm gonna I don't want to make this so it's a like top 500 tier list. I don't want it to only be for like top 500s, and I don't want it to be like bronze. So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna say this is like I'm gonna say this is like an average player tier list. I know the average is around like it's like gold platish. I coach a lot of plat players, so I have a lot of experience watching plat games and stuff. So I think I have a pretty good feel for it in that rank. So I'm gonna try to do that roughly, but things like there's gonna be things like Tracer, and like Tracer is definitely harder in like those lower ranks. But like if you know what you're doing, she's like still like S tier. And it's same for like characters like Moira, right? Like Moira and like Gold or whatever is like this unstoppable killing machine. But I'm not gonna put her in S or anything. So I'm gonna try to be like average, all right? And I think the most fun way to go about it, I think I'm just gonna go in the order of the heroes. So I'm gonna go in the order of the heroes, but then, like I said, I'm gonna be willing to change them as I go. I think just because like I think it'll be weird if I don't. What's the criteria for each list? I don't know. For each tier, I don't know. It's just letters. There's S and A and B and C and D. Hope that helps. All right, Ashe. So I think Ashe is pretty. Ashe is solid. Ashe is like a fine DPS. Um, the reload buff that she got was not nothing, but she was already really good before. So, definitely not S. And like I said, I'm gonna try really hard to not put everything in the same tier. So I'm gonna be a little more keen to spread it out. I'm gonna put Ashe in A. Ashe is like, she's really good at just like sitting in one spot and doing a lot of damage. So I think A is a pretty good spot for her. All right, BAP. Supports are going to be the hardest for me. I'm going to try really hard not to put all the supports in S and A tier. That's like my goal. Like legitimately, if I didn't self-impose that rule, I think I would put like 3 supports in S tier. So to avoid doing that, I'm going to put BAP in A tier. He's really, really good. There's a lot of nuance with him because there are some comps that he's like just not great with, but most of the time he's like pretty solid. He does good healing, good damage, good ultimates, good abilities, self-sufficient, exo boots strong. We'll put him in A. Winston, easy. S tier. This character's bonkers. This character has always been bonkers. I recognize he is easy to counter, and if you do well on Winston, they're probably going to counter you, but that's the way Overwatch is. So if you go Winston and the enemy team is like, all right, we're going to go 5 counters, one, if you're really smart, you can just play high grounds and, usually invalidate that. But if you have to, you'll have to swap, and that's like one thing. But Winston, he's the best tank in the game. Like, he is the best tank in the game. So we're going to put him in S tier. Simple as that. All right. Zarya. So I know a lot of people are probably like, Zarya S tier, Zarya S tier. and I can see it. I think I'll put her in S tier. Actually, I think I will. I think those are the two. Because the way I'm thinking about it is, I think I'm gonna put multiple characters. I'm gonna max it out of two. I'm gonna max it out of two characters in S tier, and I think I'm gonna put Zarya in S, or two characters per role, and I'm gonna put Zarya as the other one. A lot of the Zaryas who I have watched and who have been playing Zarya recently, they're just very keen to self bubble, and if you are like only self bubbling, you are legitimately not buffed. Like, you are playing the exact same Zarya that you were playing last patch. Like, Zarya only got buffed if you use allied bubbles, and you want to use allied bubbles anyway, right? Like, those are stronger. They empower your teammates. Like, they're better. They got buffed, right? Shorter cooldown, everything. Zarya, bubble your teammates, right? Like, it's understandable, bubble yourself early on, but like, bubbling yourself early on is like reasonable, right? Like, that's the most reliable way to get energy. But once you have energy and the fight starts to break down, you want to bubble your teammates. And giving your teammates a massive bubble that has a ton of HP and gives you energy and lets them play the game, and it goes on like an 8-second cooldown, that's crazy. Zarya's crazy. So Zarya's next tier. Bastion's a weird one. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put Bastion, because Bastion, this makes me come back to what I mentioned at the beginning, where I was talking about like, I'm gonna try to do it for like the average player. Like, I think for like someone in my rank, I'm putting Bastion in like B. I think for most people, like the average player, he just does so much damage, and it's so fast, and people are not very receptive to that, and like going around corners, or waiting that turret out or baiting it out, right? Like, they just engage and then die instantly, and they're like, what the heck, how'd that happen? So I'm gonna put Bastion in A for that reason. I'm between like A and B, but because I said what I said about like the average player, I'm gonna put him in A, because he just does so much damage. Like, if I was making it for my rank, yeah, no, I honestly like B, maybe even C, like when you're top 500. But oh my gosh, we're gonna get some more. We're gonna spread them out. Sasha, Brig. I'm gonna put like this is this is so hard, dude. This is legitimately so hard. Like, I'm gonna put Brig in C, because not because she's bad or anything, but well, like I mentioned, I want to put everything in their own tier, or I want at least one character from every role in each tier. That's like one of my self-imposed goals, right? So I'm putting Brig in C. She's really, really good against certain comps, and she's can be a lot weaker against certain comps for sure, but a lot of the time she's kind of similar to Lifeweaver in that, like, she just like can heal a lot, right? And that's often not gonna like win you things. So that's where I'm gonna put her. And like I said, this is very difficult for me, because like I mentioned, like I prefaced this at the beginning. I think Overwatch 2 does a very good job at like making the characters all like pretty good. Like, I don't think there are like 2 bad characters in Overwatch 2. So like, if I didn't self-impose this role, I would legitimately have like a bunch of characters in S, the vast majority of the characters in A, maybe a couple characters in B, and then like 2 characters in D, right? But I find that wouldn't be very fun. So I'm trying to force myself to spread them out a little bit more, Cassidy has been a bit of a surprise to me. I thought Cassidy would be much better than he is. I thought he would be much, much better than he is. I am going to put Cass in C. I think that's a good place for him for average players. He just doesn't. He's just overshadowed by a lot of other things. Like, his hinder is annoying, but it's not good. Like, I'm gonna get burned on a stake for this, but even his magnetic grenade that like just did damage, it was annoying, but it wasn't good. So like, I don't know. I mean, that's where we're gonna put him. So you just walk over him a lot of the time. Doomfist, I'll put in B. I think Doomfist is again, he's another character that I would probably put higher, or I would definitely put higher for like my rank. But for the average player, I'm putting him in B, just because I think he's a very difficult to play character. A lot of people don't really work together very well with him. And he's also just like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are really common in these ranks that is really strong against him, right? So that's my choice there. D.Va, we'll put an A tier. Her mobility is just so good. Matrix is so strong. Like, you can legitimately. I'm curious. This is super random, but I wonder how high you could get just playing like D.Va Matrix only. Like, legitimately, just like going to the high ground and just like matrixing supports and like matrixing DPS is like crazy. Like, the booster cooldown is just. She's just everywhere, right? Like, you have to be careful about what you're going into, especially with Zarya being as prevalent as she might be. That can be pretty tough, but on the maps where she's strong, like, she's really strong, and she can just do a lot of different things, right? Echo, I'm putting an A tier. Putting Echo in A tier. This is okay. Here's another one that I'm confused, that I'm unsure about, because I think Echo's always been my choice for the hardest DPS in the game to play. So for like average players, might be kind of hard, but she just does so much damage. Like, even if you're just like spamming your like little grenades, they like just do so much damage. And like Mercy is always really common in these lower ranks, and like Echo Mercy is just like, when you have a Mercy with her, she just like shreds. So like, her little nades do so much damage. Her focusing beams like OP. Like, you can just shoot them. Dude, leave me alone. This is hard. I don't know how. Like, all these characters are Genji. Like, aww. We'll put Genji in B. He's pretty good. He, or not. I mean, yeah. I think B is a good place for him. I think a lot of the characters that you're going to see pretty often in this rank are pretty darn good against him. You have to be like really mechanically strong to get super good value out of Genji. And then your ult, like, you're still kind of not really an ult bot, but it just depends on what combos you have for your ult. Hanzo, we'll put an A as well. Hanzo is just super strong, just does a ton of damage. His abilities are really good. Like, there's very rarely that you're not like, there's very few comps that he doesn't do super well against. Like, you can just stand like really far back and just kind of spam chokes, and like, that's deadly a lot of the time. So here's Genji, or Hanzo. Junker Queen, I'm torn between A and B. I think I'll put Junker Queen in B, because I think Zarya is like really good against her, right? I think there's like characters like Orisa that you're gonna see a ton of that are really good against her. She's, a lot of the time you can kind of just outrange her, and the problem the Queen's always had, in my opinion, is that just like shout is just too impactful of a cooldown for like how long the cooldown is. Like, if you mess up your shout and you like don't get on top of someone when you're shouting, like, it's really easy to just get shot at from a range. So there's where I'm putting her. All right, now here's the really tough thing. Junkrat, like, I'd put it. I need to put a DPS. I need to put at least. I want to put a couple DPS in D tier at least. But like, Junkrat in my rank fastest D tier in the world. In like, for like the average player, I think I want to put Junk in C. Like I said, in my tier list, like if I was making a top 500 one, easy D. I think for the average player, we'll put him more in C. Like teams play slower paced. You know, they move through choke slower. They don't shoot like they play too bunched up. It's just too easy to spam. And a lot of the time, like you'll just kind of get ran over, or outranged, right? Chunk is A. You're off the group, Gorilla. You're off the group. Lucio. Again, average players. Lucio, I'm gonna put him in. I think I'll put him in C. I think I'll put him in C. I'm putting him in C because I know in the lower ranks people really value like heals and just like having a lot of heals, and Lucio, you know, if a Lucio's healing a lot, like they're just playing Lucio wrong. Like Lucio's about like speed boosting. So we're putting him in C. He's really good on like, you know, certain comps obviously, and he's really good on Flashpoint, right? Just because Flashpoint's so big. But is that enough to take him out of C? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Oh, so we'll put Lucio in C. Kiri's gonna be my first S tier support. Character's just crazy. Stupid amounts of damage, no fall off, crazy abilities, crazy ultimates, good, decent heals, right? Like Kiri's just an easy S tier for me. So much survivability, like so powerful to carry with. Like Kiri's the whole shebang. May, I think I'm gonna put May in D tier. I think May will be my first D tier DPS. I feel the need to say this all the time. It was like I don't think she's like I think she'd be higher in like my rank or whatever, or not even in my rank, but I think she's. It's just hard to call it here a D tier because I don't think May's bad or anything. Like I don't think May's bad. I just have to put a character in D tier, and I think she's probably amongst the worst DPS. So we're putting her in D. And really, I think the big reason is just like her most important cooldown is wall. And how often do people like play around wall properly, right? Like, let's be for real. People like we need to hold choke points like a wall, like. And her rework is like I like the idea for it, like the deep freeze like mechanic where you do like extra damage to people after you frozen them. It's like a cool idea, but in execution, it's just super lackluster. So. Ana, S tier. She's gonna be the other S tier support. She does it all. No fall off damage. Like she just does no fall off damage. Crazy heals. Sleep and nade, two of the strongest cooldowns. She's so versatile. She's like incredibly strong defensively. She's incredibly strong offensively. One of the strongest ults in the game. Like I'm a huge advocate for ults that like help you keep ults, right? Like Ana, like nanoing someone helps them build ult and, you know, keep your ult economy strong. Same with Kiri. Like ults that build ults, powerful. Ana, S tier. Tracer. I think this is where it gets really confusing because like I mean Tracer is like insta S tier in top 500. But like, here's my thinking, right? If I don't put Tracer in S tier, what DPS am I putting in S tier? Like, why am I even sitting here thinking about it? Like, I get that, like, for average, she's a little bit harder, and like, against a lot of the things she's gonna play against, like, it can be pretty hard. But like, this character, she's just too good, right? Like, you can legitimately like just sit around and like poke and like pulse bomb is just too powerful, right? She's so versatile, like, and she's such a good way to like I guess another criteria that I've kind of been thinking about is like how easy it is to carry out of your rank, right? and how much impact you can have on the game. Not necessarily how good they are if you're just like an average player, but like how hard you can carry. And Tracer can carry. Like Pulse Bomb is crazy. You build Pulse Bomb fast. You are so versatile. You make so much space. Like it's so easy to get through choke points and like flank and like make people have to look at you. Like Tracer's Tracer. Like it's Tracer. Tracer's Tracer. It's Tracer. Put that on a shirt. All right. Mercy. I think we'll put Mercy in B. We'll put Mercy in B, I think. I mean, she's obviously as only she's you know she's as good as your DPS is, but she's like res is strong. People get like picked a lot, so res is really good. You get a lot of good value out of that. A lot of times people don't play super fast paced, so you often can get away with resing. Decent healing, good survivability. Like I think that's a pretty safe place to put her. Moira. Easy D. Moira sucks. Bad face. I I know what I mentioned about like average player. I know, but even like when I'm watching like when I'm coaching like plat players, I don't even think Moira is like this crazy hard carry in like plat. Like I think she's just like this unkillable demon in like bronze and stuff. But like I find I feel like it scales. I think people blow it out of proportion. At least from my experience, like coaching people. Like I watch a lot of like, you know, like I said, a lot of gold plat, and I'm not seeing like Moiras being like these unkillable monsters. I'm really not. So I think that's where we're gonna put her. And it's also like if I didn't put Moira in D tier, who would I put in D tier? Right? That's something I'm constantly asking myself. So there we are. Marissa, no, not S tier, A tier. Marissa, A tier. A lot of people act like her nerfs did nothing to her, and that's not true. That's definitely not true. Her nerfs maybe didn't do enough, but I'm still putting her in A. She still does a ton of damage. She's still really hard to kill. Her spear is still on a crazy short cooldown, like a crazy short cooldown. That's where we're putting Marissa. She's just still good. Pharah. So Pharah is always going to be the weirdest character because it's like, I mean, D tier in my rank, and D tier without mercy. But in ranked, in like, you know, average, I think we're gonna put her in B. I think. Yeah, I mean, if we're saying without mercy, we should probably just go straight to D. But and like I said, in my rank, she's gonna be in D. But I think for most people, she's probably in B. I know a lot of players complain about her. Like, she just does so much damage. I think B or C. I think we'll put her in B. We'll put her in like low B. A lot of damage, but and it also forces people to swap, right? We gotta think about the mental card. Pharah packs a mental punch. I guess the ranking is. I guess it's. I don't know. It is kind of. I don't know. It is. I'm trying. I see the point. Like we're ranking Pharah, not Pharah and Mercy, and I see your point, but also like Overwatch isn't played in a vacuum. I mean, it's like we're putting her like high tier, like low B, right? Like I don't know. I think we'll go with B. I think we'll go with B. Ramatra. Ah! Ramatra will put in. It's either B or C. I'm thinking C or B. Because I think like the big thing that like makes Ramatra really good is just like how powerful his block is. I do not see many Ramatras in low rank. I really don't. I mean, his ult's still crazy. I don't know. I already got 2 tanks in T and B tier. We're putting him in C. We're putting him in C. He's in C. He's not bad. I'm trying hard to space him out. Like, I can see an argument for either, but fuck, now that I'm looking at it, like having Doom above Ramastra sounds fake. That sounds so fake. Let's do that. I'm doing that. There's no way Doom's above Ramastra in low ranks. Nah. I'm doing that. Executive decision. That's nah, man. Nah. I know what low ranks are like, bro. Dude, this is not out of character. I'm thinking about lower ranks. I'm thinking about the average player. The average player that loads in and someone on their team picks Doomfist, their heads explode. Reaper? Is Reaper going in D? Or is Reaper going in C? I think Reaper's going in C. He is really good with Zarya, I will say. He's really good with Zarya. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about him. He's really good with Zarya. He likes shooting tanks, and I don't like when people shoot tanks. But that's the T. Reinhardt. We're putting Reinhardt in an D tier. I don't care. I don't care that low rank players are like, we need a shield. No, you don't. I don't care. We're putting him in D, and you can't stop me. He's the worst. He's not the worst. Roadhog's the worst. But he sucks. He sucks bigly. You just get away from him. You just shoot around his shield. He just explodes. He can't shield and do damage at the same time. He just dies. He's just the worst. He's just the worst. He's just the worst. Speaking of the worst, Roadhog. He's just the worst. He's just the worst. He's just the worst. What did I say? I don't know. He's just the worst. He doesn't have a shield. He doesn't one-shot people. Do I think Hog's the worst character in the game? No, that's the real question. No, I think Ryan's the worst character in the game. In lower ranks, or in the average ranks that I'm talking about right now, I'd say Hog's probably worse than Ryan. But in my rank, Ryan's the worst. That's what I'm saying. But that's what we're doing. Sigma. Sigma is so weird because he's so dependent on the map and also what you're playing against. I'm gonna put him in B because I find that what Sig is weak to is like when people like go around him and shoot him from like different angles and kind of overwhelm him. And I find that doesn't happen a lot in these lower ranks. So his shield and his good damage output and his solid ult makes him strong. Sojourn. We're gonna put in... Wait. I think we're gonna put him in S tier. We're gonna put Sojourn in S tier. Sojourn's gonna be the second DPS in S tier. I think she's just crazy. I think she does a lot of damage. I think she has a good ult. Do I? Okay. I want 2 DPS heroes in S tier. And if I don't put... Alright, here's how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to put Sojourn in S. I think she's too good not to put in S. I think if you... the argument that you can make, I think, would be swapping Sojourn and Bastion. Well, because Bastion is, like... Once players start thinking, like... there's like the average player, but then there's like, so if the average player came to me and did a single coaching session with me, or even just had me watch one game of theirs, I could easily make them not die to Bastion anymore, right? So like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I mean Soldier. Okay, sure. Like, and now like, okay, my chat said nah. Soldier's better than Sojourn in lower ranks. You think Soldier can carry lobbies harder than Sojourn in gold? And like, okay, this is where it gets like, this is why this is so difficult for me. Next time I do this, I'm gonna change my criteria because like I totally get your points, but also like, I don't know. I'll also like, shut up. No, like also at the same time, like Sojourn is just so much better than Soldier. Next time I do this, I'm gonna do like, I think my criteria will be like, if you get good at this character, like, and really put your time into that character instead of just like looking for like an easy crutch to get you out of like your rank, this is what you should play. I think will be the way I do it next time. Because like Junkrat, like, sure, you could just play Junkrat a ton and that would just like speed you out of like the the poop tier ranks, but once you start to get where like the game gets a little bit harder, the game will get a lot harder, right? I think that's how I'm gonna do it next time. So I'm not changing it now. I'm tired. Sojourn S tier. Sojourn. So much damage, so much ult, so much. She's just so flexible, so much viability. Like, so she can do so many different things. Sojourn. Which means Soldier. I'll put him in A tier. No, I'll put him in B. I'm putting him in B. I don't care. I'm putting him in B. If I was okay, my rank, I'm putting him in D. I think Soldier might be the WOT. We could have three. We could have three in S tier. But I think I'd be more keen to put Torbjorn in S tier than I would Soldier. I like where Soldier is. I like where Soldier is. I think like I mentioned, he's good. He's got a lot of the viability. He's got a lot of the same flexibility as Sojourn. His aiming is definitely easier. Like, it's easier to do a lot of damage as him. But I mean, in terms of like climbing, getting good at Sojourn, I feel it will take you further. Like, I think you'll just be quicker to hit a wall as Soldier. Sojourn will also incentivize you to like play the game like, you know, not just shoot at the tank, which is like what you want to do. Ew, dude, trying not. This is okay. This is my first time making a tier list, man. Like, I'm trying so hard not to change the criteria mid thing, but I'm gonna stick through with it. Sombra, we're gonna put in D tier. I don't think she. I mean, I'd put her definitely higher in my rank, and putting her in D tier is weird. But like, so much of Sombra's power comes from like intel and like coordination, right? Like running around in stealth and like pinging people, and she just requires too much coordination, and it's too hard to farm your ults. Now with like the ult change nerf, and like her ult's very powerful, but like you just don't get it as often. So we're gonna put her in D tier. Sim. This is my favorite DPS to play. We're again thinking about the lower ranks. So I'm thinking between it's between A and B for me. I'm leaning towards B. I think we're gonna put her in B. I think that's a good place to put her. As I said, she's my favorite DPS, so I'm trying to hide some of my bias, and I will say I think the way a lot of people in this rank play her is not the way to play her, but when you play her the way people play her in ranked, I say I put her at like B. People don't use TP well. That's very true. Her ult's really good. Aiming her like right click and like moving around the map quickly is really hard as her. Like, pretty mechanical. I will say people don't shoot her turrets as much in lower ranks, so that's one thing. But I think that's a good place to put her. Torb, we'll put an S tier. I think putting 3 DPS in S tier is reasonable. Because there's so many DPS heroes. It's either S or A. I don't know what else I'd put in A. So we're gonna put Torb in S. We really are. His turret, like his turret got nerfed a decent amount, but it's still just so strong. People don't shoot turrets, and he just does so much damage. Overload, dude. When he overloads, he has 350 HP. That's like, I think that might be the biggest number. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a number that comes after 350. So like, Torb, boom, S tier. His ult's also sleeper. Ult's just like the best ult in the game. Like, Torb, his splooge is it's splooge-rific. 351. What the heck does that mean? Widow is going to be in B tier. She's like, you know, that's definitely, she's just average, right? On Widow maps, she could dominate the game, but like, who's good at Widow? And yeah, she's easy to counter. If you're an average player, like, Widow's B. I think that's fair. Alright, Wrecking Ball is going to be another tough one for me. I'm thinking we're going to put Wrecking Ball in C tier. I think we're going to put him in C tier. I'm contemplating D, but I'm also trying to find that balance between, like, making it for, you know, average, right? So we're gonna put Ball in C. He's like not bad, but he's my favorite tank to play. But we considered the mental factor when we talked about other characters, so it's got to be important to talk about the mental factor here. The amount of times where like I see people just like, someone will like pick Wrecking Ball and their team's heads will just explode. Wrecking Ball's like probably, the Wrecking Ball's got to be like the most hated character in the game when it comes to seeing one on your team, right? Like I don't even know what else would be up there. Like low rank players despise seeing Wrecking Ball on their team, which is weird because they even like despise seeing it on the other team. So I don't know, but we'll put her there. Zen. I like this is tough. Cause like I do only have one support in D tier. And if I put, let's put Zen in C. There's no way we can put him in D. Discording tanks, while it's not like the best way to play Zen, it dominates in lower ranks. So we'll put Zen in C. Discording tanks is just too strong. People also don't know how to use corners and cover, so his ult's like just a solid support ult. Lifeweaver in D, I'm not. There's no way I'm putting Lifeweaver in D. I can't. You guys are crazy. You guys really think I should put Lifeweaver in D? Like we've all this time we've been talking about like trying to appease like the average player. Like Lifeweaver's, people love healing. People love healing, and Lifeweaver's a healer. That's all he does. He just sits there and heals. Like we're putting Lifeweaver in. He's closer to A than he is to D. B? I think B is fair. We'll put him in B. Does a ton of healing. His ult is crazy strong now. His ult got crazy buffed. His ult is so good now. Does so much healing. If you're smart, like, you can really change how your team positions, and like, you know, it's a good character to carry as, because like if you get smart and know what you're doing, you can pull people out of bad situations. So we'll put him in B. And then Yari, I can't put a Yari in D. It's I'm finding a balance between like Yari, like her pylon is obviously really strong to low rank players, and her ult is obviously really strong as well. But she doesn't do much damage because she's really hard to aim. But her heals, she heals so fast. she does such fast healing, and the fact that like there's like a lot of time after she's done healing where she can't heal doesn't even matter because people aren't even like that fast at like focus firing down people. So I think we'll put her in B. I think B is a good place to put her. I think that's fair. You know, honestly, you know what? I'm just saying that, and I'm happy with the way this looks because my goal was it was so hard to make it to spread these out, and I that's a pretty solid spread. You know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm patting myself on the back with this. This is good. And here it is. No, this is an S tier. No, okay, no. Maybe this isn't. This is definitely an S tier list. I like wanted to change my criteria midway through. This is a B tier list. All right, that's it. That's my tier list. There you go. Pikmin. There it is. Next time we do a tier list, we are absolutely doing different criteria for sure. Hi YouTube. All right, I'm leaving. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Go follow my stuff. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.